We are at Jaipur, and now the EQ has officially been revealed, and the price announcement is coming on the 8th of July. But I'm here to catch up Mr. Santosh, who is actually speaking to us on what really the EQA means for the Mercedes India market, and of course, overall perspective. Thank you, Santosh, for joining us. Pleasure speaking to you. The EQ is here, 130,000 odd vehicles sold globally. Now it comes to India. What makes you think this would actually, make that volumes add further to the Mercedes-Benz portfolio? Because the EQ C and other electric vehicles are actually a hot seller. Will it add or will it compete together?
No, I think it's too early when you look at volumes on EVs because, of course, it's growing. We were the first to introduce an electric luxury car in India. Then we also localized an EQS. And with all of this, today, if you look at our sales, close to 5% or even more than 5% of our sales are EVs. And I think that's a big gradual step. Looking forward, for us, the EQA is at a very different price point. It will be one of the first time we come with an electric car below 70 lakhs. More importantly, it has also a very aggressive TCO argument because owning a electric car, and then of course the cost of maintenance is low, cost of running is low. So there will be a lot of customers who would like to prefer to get into the luxury segment, and then with an EV, I think this is a perfect setup. And of course, for us, we have all the options. We have combustion engine, I have gasoline, I have clean diesels, and EVs in the portfolio. But ideally, these product introductions should get us on top volumes and just not cannibalize within our portfolio.
Absolutely, and we were also talking about how there are various debates on the diesel engines right now, and you've been very aggressive about the fact that till it reaches a point of a mandate that it's given, you will not stop. So is that mandate still clear that you will continue to be aggressive about diesel vehicles as well?
Yeah, I think we have to be governed by CAFE norms, right? Whatever the norms say in terms of, because gasoline has CO2 and diesels have particulate matter. So it's not like there is a cleaner fuel. Finally, the road to mobility should be an emission-free mobility, which is electric. But to reach there, you need to have a combination of fuel types, which is, and diesels are also, clean diesels are expensive technology. So I can understand why mass market, many of them have exited diesels because it's expensive. But we are ready to invest, we are ready, customers are ready to pay. Most of our diesel cars are 2 lakh rupees more expensive than petrol. And I can clearly see even now, 40% or more than that, actually even in SUVs as high as 60% of customers buy diesels because they clearly see an intrinsic value in terms of riding comfort, torque, but also cost of ownership because diesels are much cheaper to drive. So I think we have to be fuel agnostic. But if you look at a zero emission mobility, then I think electric is the only option available.
And also, we were talking about the numbers yesterday. Over 100% growth in the first half, in the first quarter of the years. But the second half, Santosh, is looking a little bleak. The heat wave and all have created downsided the consumer demand also. How impacted are you? Will you be? Do you think? And has the dispatch to the dealerships also slowed down because of the heat wave and other issues, like considering elections and other related matters?
Okay, for Mercedes-Benz, of course, the EV almost we saw a doubling compared to last year, and I would say that on EVs, trend would continue. We would have definitely much higher growth rate on EV particularly. But let's talk about the total market. In total market, we had a double-digit growth continuing in quarter one, and I think H1 would be the best ever. Now we have closed. We will be declaring numbers soon as well. But to be in general, it would be the best ever H1. It would be the best ever quarter two as well for us. But yes, it is slower. But that's anticipated. I think quarter two has traditionally been low seasonality. You add elections on top of it. You add heat wave on top of it because when there is so much, most of our customers are in the UK, in London, in their home or in the US. So they have escaped from the heat and others. So basically that causes a bit of slowdown, you can say. But still, I think the growth is there and we are still confident for a double-digit growth for the full year basis. So I think still there are inquiries. Customers want to purchase. Wedding season is coming in front. So we are quite optimistic for the double-digit growth for the year, and our projections remain the same.
Also, Santosh, there have been various talks about how tier 2, tier 3 cities are coming up to the forefront, and how is Mercedes planning to expand to tier 3 cities? Because, there are aspirational people who want to own a Mercedes in a town like Varanasi or Indore. I'm sure Indore has the dealership there. But how about towns like Varanasi and Kanpur where there are aspirational people? What are the plans going forward there?
So, let me give you a statistics. For Mercedes-Benz, only 17% of sales comes from Tier 3, whereas for, I would say, mass market brands, 48% of sales comes from Tier 3 market. So, there is enough people buying cars. And for us, it's a clear way to reach those customers. So, we have already already communicated that we will come up with an outlet. You mentioned Varanasi, yes. In Agra, Varanasi, Kanpur, we already have one outlet in Lucknow because I think UP is growing. We clearly see a lot of potential in that market and segments. There is wealth, propensity to spend was a bit lower considering many other factors, external factors, but it's changing. Now to expect a Varanasi customer to come to Lucknow and buy is also not fair. So we are setting up, we will be soon coming up with a new workshop in Varanasi, showroom in Varanasi. We will also have a setup in Agra and others. So, and more so we have got an excellent response. You know, the moment we came out in the press saying we want partners, we have many people applying for the brand. And these are locals there running automobile franchises and they come and tell us, Santosh, there is a big demand for Mercedes-Benz. Please allow us to open the franchises. So that clearly shows potential exists. We need to go to these markets and not expect these markets to come to us. And I think that's what we will be doing in the next couple of months.
If I may ask you your personal opinion on this and not official, what is driving growth and that spending propensity in the tier 3 cities? Have people started to earn more? Have people have got more money? Has the spending value of money been increased? So what do you think?
See, there are two aspects to it. One is, of course, the economic aspect to it. There is a lot of land prices have gone up in many of these places. So people are selling land as well as there are new income streams because even farming today, etc., is making the development of cold storages, etc., helps them to sell at the right point of time and make more money. But more importantly, many of the second generation in these markets, they have gone abroad to study or sometimes they have gone to metros to study and now they are coming back. They want to, so the family had wealth, but they were driving mass market cars, but now they want to enjoy that because it's also a life and they are now exposed. Thanks to social media, they are looking at people consuming luxury across. And so they want to have the right brands, they want to enjoy. And I think that's a cultural change which is also coming to tier 2, tier 3 markets where these mini metros now have the propensity to spend and the willingness to spend both. And that's why I said it's for us to go and give them the taste of luxury, be closer to them, give them the service because they cannot now again travel a lot of kilometers to get their car serviced. So I think that's the changing in India that we can see. The Bharat is as important as the metros and we are fully committed to take care, to really capitalize on this demand.
So Santosh, last question. The budget is around the corner. All the automakers are expecting financial stability and the continuance of reforms. Are you expecting the same, or is there something that you can tell us for the mass EV market? Because considering, because of various brands like Tesla coming to India, there were talks of reducing duties, which actually even happened. What are you thinking for the budget and any reform agenda that you might have in mind?
I think let me start with EVs because you mentioned that for EVs the biggest benefit today given by the government is a GST of 5% compared to 50 odd percent on SUVs and on combustion engine cars. I think what's important for the government is to come out and say this will continue for 10 years. You need to give a long-term roadmap that we are committed to EV transformation and we will do this EV transformation with continued reforms in the market and the tax in the market. So this is, I think this is the biggest request that we need. We understand budget is not for GST, but there needs to be a statement coming that the EV incentives will continue. The second factor that we think is the growth for us has also come with the road infrastructure. Beautiful roads, intercity travel, and a lot of customers now preferring Mercedes-Benz because it's safer, luxurious to travel. So we would expect the capital expenditure on road to improve, if not at least remain the same, because I think that's a major factor, not only for car sales, but also for bringing the logistic cost down, bringing the overall efficiency in the system. And I think some of the media friends traveled, they refused to travel by flight from Jaipur to Delhi. They even you, okay, great. So they all said, no, driving is great. It's just 4 hours, point to point. And I think that makes sense. This is the changing in India. And I think in the budget, there's continued focus on road infrastructure and development should be there.
Also, and very little bit silly, you might find it silly, but I got to ask you, the government is also focusing on the shipping sector and transportation through railways and shipping. A lot of automakers have started doing. Are you also looking at transporting your cars in India or through exports through shipping or the railway route? Any plan on that?
No, we evaluated it. Basically, we are very close to the port as such. So, in that sense, our logistics are very close to Nhava Sheva. Our plant is in Chakan. In comes to inland logistics, we do 1,500, 2,000 cars a month on the higher side. There, I think trucks and single car carriers are better because we need to take care of the shipment as well. So, at this stage, the scale doesn't allow us to use railways. But I think railways, cost-wise, it's great. And our teams have been looking at the evaluation of possibilities. But at this stage, with this volume, I think we'll continue continue with our road transport.
All right, Santosh, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
Pleasure
very
as
much.
always
Pleasure
speaking
to
to you.
talk to you.
Well, the EQ is here. 8th of July is when we expect the price to be announced, and of course, we'll be giving you an insight review very soon on how the car is on the road.